Welcome back, everyone. Once again, I'm going to show you how to economize on your grocery bill, and also we're going to do a dish today. It's going to be a spicy Korean chicken dish. So I'm going to zoom the camera in a little bit, and you can see on the chopping board I have this chicken. All this chicken meat, this comes from deboning the leg quarters. So what we did was, and this is from the supermarket at 78 cents a pound, a 10-pound bag of leg quarters, and this is the yield from it. This is well, in West Ocean City we catch blue crabs, so I use the bones and the skin and everything to put in the crab pots to catch crabs. But you can discard the skin and use this the bone part for chicken stock. If you don't use it for crab bait. So what I did was I saved one of the leg quarters because there's already a video on how to debone the whole chicken. But when you get these leg quarters, let me touch the knife up a little bit, and then I'll show you. It comes with the back and attached to it. So what you do is you bend it over, and that pops the bone out, the leg bone. You run your knife along here and you pull that part off, and you can also at the same time cut some of the fat off. And this is the part I use for the crab traps. And then you can pull the skin off the chicken thigh. I'm just showing one because I already did a video on this, but it's good to revisit this for leg quarters. And you pull the skin off. Then you run your knife along this bone here, right at the base of the drumstick, along the bone, the whole length of the bone, then scrape it with your knife. Separate the meat from the bone on the drumstick. Run the edge of your knife around very carefully. That separates it. Then you take your fingers, pull the meat out. Use your fingers this way, go around the bone, pull it out. Then you see you have the whole bone, and you just run your knife around, and there you have the boneless chicken leg. And you can trim this fat off too to reduce the fat. So when on this dish we're not using the skin or a lot of the fat, so it's not that bad as far as health wise. You trim all the fat off of it. And that's the last leg quarter. This is the bone, which still has a little bit of meat attached to it, but we cleaned it up pretty good, and that's good for chicken stock or crab meat, A or B. So this is the yield from it. You can see you get quite a bit of meat, almost maybe 45% of the meat and 55% bone. So that's the deboning process on the leg quarters. And now I'll show you what we have. I have a mixing bowl here that I'm going to put in the sink, and you can take as many of these pieces that you want. Put them in the mixing bowl. Some of them you can save and freeze. So since this is all going in the same dish, we don't really have to clean up this cutting board because it's all going in here anyway. You can see, vegetable-wise, I have carrots, green onions, onion, red pepper, and fresh garlic. So that's going to be cut up and to go into the dish. You can cut the carrots up julienne style. Doesn't have to be very fine for this dish. Green onions. What we're going to do is we're going to cut the tops off and trim a little bit off the edge. Split them down the length of the white part, and then we'll hold our knife at an angle it in about 3/4 inch strips. That goes in there. A white onion, one medium-sized white onion. Cut it, peel it off, first layer. That goes in the bowl. And then I have a red pepper for color. Cut it in half, take the seeded part out. Same thing on the other side. And this, you can just cut it strips and cut it once this way, so you have the same length, all about the same size as your onions. Fresh garlic, pull off a couple of cloves. Then we'll use our Chinese sledge-o-matic. Give it a couple of smacks. Separate the skin, garlic skin from the clove. More garlic the better in Korean food. Smash it, side of your knife and the heel of your hand. And that goes in the bowl as well. And now the seasoning. This is Korean hot bean paste, which we used in the pork barbecue before. It has red peppers and glutinous rice mix. The more of this you put in there, the spicier it's going to be, but it also gives it a flavor. So I have, for this amount of chicken in here, I've got maybe 3 heaping spoons. We won't make it too spicy. And then, you see, I'm going to add some soy sauce. Maybe 3 or 4 tablespoons of soy sauce. A little bit of sesame oil, maybe a teaspoon. Cooking wine, a couple of tablespoons. And I'm going to have honey to balance the flavor, to give it balance the saltiness. I'd say that's maybe 3 tablespoons. And then you mix all this up, and then we'll go on to the cooking phase. You can marinate this in your fridge for 2 or 3 hours, or overnight is even better. And then you can, a lot of times this is cooked on a flat grill, like a griddle. Like the chicken gets laid skin, with the back side down on the griddle, and then it cooks for 5 or 10 minutes, and then it's flipped over, and the vegetables are grilled along with it. And it's a very good dish. You can cut it in small pieces and serve it with steamed white rice. I'll show you how it looks after when we cook it later on. Stay tuned for that. Welcome back, everyone. Now I just wanted to show you how I have this set up. On top of the range, I have a flat griddle on one of those non-stick electric griddles set on 300 degrees. And you can see that on the right side of the griddle, I have some chicken, same type of chicken, but I marinated it in the bourbon chicken sauce. So this is for some people that in the group do not like spicy, so I marinated some in the bourbon chicken sauce. And this was from a video that I did before, and you can see how on 300 degrees You just keep turning it once in a while until it gets this nice brown, dark brown crust to it, and that's from having the sugar or the honey in the marinade. And then on the over here, I have the I'll turn this tripod. This is the one for the spicy Korean chicken, and you can see how it's getting that nice crust on it too. I just turned it, and if you see it's getting a little too dark on the on this part, you can turn the griddle down a little bit, put it on 275 or so it slow cooks. And you can also see that I have down here, I'm also grilling the vegetables at the same time that was in the mixture. So what I have is I have the Pyrex dish here with all the chicken that I marinated with the vegetables and that spicy Korean sauce here. And as I cook it, I can take it off, cut it in bite-sized pieces, and then put the cooked grilled vegetables on top, and it makes a very nice dish. But it is kind of spicy, so for those of you who like spicy dishes, this is right up your alley. Now, I'll show you the finished product when we're done grilling all this chicken. Now let me show everyone where we're at right now. I'm finishing off the last batch of chicken here on the left side of the grill. And what I've done is the first batch that I cooked, you can see right here, I've taken a little knife and cut it into bite-sized chunks. And so right now, all that's left in the Pyrex dish is the veggies, and we're going to toss them on the grill. And there's some liquid marinade in there, so that what's going to happen, you're going to grill these vegetables, and that's going to go on top of the dish when it's done. And I'll give you one final shot later after I've cut the rest of this chicken up into little chunks and garnished it with the grilled vegetables. And you'll have a very, very appetizing dish to serve. Okay, now you can see the final dish that we have. I cut the pieces of grilled chicken up in bite-sized chunks, and then I arranged the grilled vegetables around the edge of the platter. And it's very eye-appealing dish. It has a lot of color, and but it is a little, say, medium spicy, so keep that in mind. And I hope you've enjoyed this lesson, and hope you try this dish and enjoy it.